All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the show today. We have a guest today, and her name is Chey. This show is dedicated to the ladies today, all right? So this is the Firearms for Females video that we're shooting today, and we're going to get some very detailed information today from this amazing person. Say hello, Chey.
Hi.
How was your day today?
It was decent. Got a lot done. Sold some guns today, so feel pretty good.
All right. Was it a large amount of like females coming into the store today, or predominantly like men?
Any day you're gonna see a couple more guys than women come in, but for the most part, you do get women in daily, regularly. They're making up a good percentage of the market these days.
Okay, very good. And for you guys that don't know, ladies, she's a star. Let me show you why. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all gotta see this. Hold up. I'm gonna show y'all this real quick. Watch this, guy. Look at this. I'm gonna turn this sideways. All right, and she's an expert at the Outpost Armory, guys. Yes, and she's gonna show us some knives. She's a superstar. Y'all see it. So check out the video. That's the Outpost Armory Knife Collection video. And she gave us some very detailed information on there also. So really good stuff. All right, Chey, you ready to get started for the ladies?
I'm ready, always.
All right. And I apologize for keeping you, my time was hectic out there where I work at. So I apologize about that.
Good.
All right. So how long have you been shooting, and how long have you worked in the firearm industry?
I've been working in the firearm industry for about 10 years now. 29 now. I got my first job working with guns when I was 19. So it's been about 10 years. I've been selling guns and working in the gun industry, doing paperwork and buying, selling, distributing. I have my training cert for basic pistol, and I've been doing training for about 6 years now. And it's just kind of something that started out as a job for a teenager looking for some extra money to just shop around, to something I've really come to love and enjoy, and really just kind of became a hobby and then a passion.
Yeah. You represent, though. You represent,
right? That's what I try.
Oh, you ain't trying. You doing it. It's not a lot of females out there representing like that, and I love seeing that, to empower ladies to be able to do things like this. You guys are number one, I would say, as far as being vulnerable, to the outside elements, people that are up to no good, that think you may be considered prey, if you know what I mean. So for you to be able to protect yourself, that's really extremely important,
Oh, I agree with a lot of that. It's there's just a lot of hazards out there in the universe, and they come from a lot of different directions. And self-empowerment is a choice that we all make, male, female, whoever you are, whatever age you are. You're never too far gone to start your journey of self-empowerment, no matter what that looks like.
That's right.
And sometimes that could be your education. Sometimes that can be your skill level, and sometimes that's taking yourself to a gun store to begin that journey for yourself. And it's kind of up to you. And there's ways about going about it. And there's fears. There's a lot of social fear with firearms.
Big time.
And, that journey starts somewhere. And for a lot of, and in my experience, and for a lot of women, it starts with something, kind of starts on your worst day. It starts for a lot of women on the worst day they've had of their lives. A day full of fear and a day full of vulnerability. And because of the experience from that worst day, they come into the store and they're like, I don't want to ever live through that again.
Right.
I want a gun. And that's the beginning for a lot of women, is just surviving and then in time thriving with guns.
That's correct. Yeah, that's good stuff. How old were you when you got started, like, with firearms?
I mean, the first time I ever shot a gun, I was probably 5. And it was, your uncle takes you out on his property and lets you shoot a little 22 rifle at some cans on a fence. And so I was probably 5 years old the first time I ever shot a gun.
Yeah, so
But
you've been in the game for a minute.
well, that's just like early childhood nonsense when you live in the South. But you live in the city and you don't have unless your parents hunt or you go to a range regularly, you don't really get involved in firearms until you're old enough to make your own life choices.
Right.
So I would say around 18, I graduated at 18. So I was looking for, those first couple jobs you have graduating, just trying to make extra money. And the local Bass Pro was hiring, just retail workers. And that's how I got started in their hunting department. And then with gun knowledge, it's like anything else, it's osmosis. You get around it, you listen, you apply yourself,
And you learn.
and you learn. And it takes time. It took years before I was proficient in both my knowledge and my skill set. But the first thing you learn is safety. And it's the first thing anyone's going to teach you about guns is safety.
That's right.
So when you start, it's intimidating just to walk through the door. But the first thing that anybody is going to talk to you about is how to be safe.
Yep.
So it's something to keep in mind where you're like, I've always wanted to go to a gun store. I've always wanted to go to a gun range, but I'm scared. Well, everyone's top priority in the industry is safety.
And I noticed a lot of women have that anxiety when I talk to them. I don't know if it's just like not all women, but a lot of women that I talk to have that anxiety of, I guess, about the recoil of the firearm or how loud it is and stuff like that. And then you have to remember a lot of, I would say, African American women that have been in an urban setting, they've heard guns and it's a negative connotation that goes along with that. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
for some of them, it's trauma, to be
Yeah.
able to hold a firearm and stuff like that and not know that this is something actually that can protect you. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely. For most people, they correlate firearms with violence.
Yeah.
And for women, especially because of a lot of social issues and social pressures, the way we're raised, the way we're told to think and taught to think, the example set for us by our mothers and grandmothers and teachers and people around us is that we are vulnerable.
Right.
And we are taught to be afraid of violence
Right.
because we don't have that same muscle density. We don't have that same ability to defend ourselves, to be violent. We ain't got those guns over there in that red shirt. And so with this way that we're taught and raised and in the social situations we're in, we correlate firearms with violence.
Right.
And as women, we correlate violence with something we want to stay away from.
Right.
So it just tracks that there's a lot of anxiety. And then, as you said, trauma, women are often victims of violence.
Right.
And whether it's gun violence or threatened gun violence, it's a fear. It's something that a lot of people have to overcome, whether it's, partners or family members, fathers, abuse comes from a lot of different places. And, your drunk parent coming home, pulling his gun out of his pants and yelling,
Yep.
that's something that you grew up with. So
Yep.
you associate that violence, and now you've built a life for yourself that you're a survivor, and you're creating an environment for yourself where you feel safe, and guns just don't make you feel safe.
That's
so you're
right.
not going to apply yourself to get one.
That's right. That's
So
absolutely
it's
correct.
changing that energy and changing that mindset is a big part of firearm sales. Is just talking. It's most people leave without a gun the same day, and you want that. You're not trying to always hit that dollar mark. You're trying to empower each other.
That's right.
And you're like, if you're not ready today, come back tomorrow. We'll have the same exact conversation tomorrow and the next day until you feel comfortable or until all your questions are asked.
Right. I love that.
Thanks.
I love that. And you're very informative too. Whenever I noticed you greeted us, you are a wealth of knowledge. And I know the ladies really appreciate that. All right. So very good information. Now I have some questions to go through, some more questions for you. And I'm pretty sure you're going to knock these out the park. What made you decide to carry a firearm as a female?
Well, there's different philosophies of existence, and I respect everybody's personal opinions and the way they want to live their lives. Personally, for me, I decided very early on in life that I just never wanted to identify as a victim or allow myself to be victimized.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I was willing to take on that responsibility of being, in the way that I identify as a warrior. I took on the identity of someone who is willing to fight for themselves and fight for those around me. And I took the time and put in the effort to become knowledgeable, safe, trained, and
Yes.
then have committed to that training because it's not a skill that you just get and keep.
Nope.
It's something that you have to apply yourself to. It's a little expensive. It's something that you commit to. So for me, I just decided a long time ago that once I could legally carry a gun and I could safely carry a gun, that was something I was going to commit myself to doing. And it's saved my life a couple times. I have pulled my firearm in self-defensive situations.
What?
Yes, in the last 10 years I have.
Bag up,
I've
boy.
never
They
had
better
to
bag
fire
up.
it, thank God. But I have, and it has deterred at least one would-be mugger and quite a few people who had obvious like mental disabilities
Yep.
who had decided to enter my vehicle
What
without
about
permission.
stalkers?
Thank God I haven't had to have those situations, although I know many, many women that have. And the thing about just being an empowered person is that people see that in you,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's guns or anything else. They see that in you, and it kind of deters a lot of types, a lot of stalker types
Yep.
and abusive types and things like that, where they see and they feel off of you that you're just not someone that plays those games.
No,
And I'm
that's true.
definitely
A
not.
firearm doesn't give you a guarantee, but it gives you a fighting chance. It
And
does.
that confidence gives you the mindset to be successful in
Yep.
those situations. Fear is paralyzing. That's why we say paralyzed with fear.
That's right.
Empowerment comes from confidence.
Yep.
So in training is what does that for you. Just owning a gun doesn't do anything for you. You
That's
might as
right.
well have, a hammer, a remote control in your hand if you're not trained and you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to be safe, and you don't know how to be functional.
Preach, Chey.
So
Preach.
training is, you never waste money on training. I promise you, you never regret training. It's just something that everyone should do for themselves because that confidence, it's gold. It's worth everything to walk through the street and not feel fear constantly. And for a lot of women, that's their reality. That's their everyday, is that
Yep.
they're afraid. Whether they have been victimized in the past or just that weird concept we have in our society that from the time girls are very little, they're being told that they're targets and they're
Yep.
being told you have to wear shorts under your skirt. Well, I'm 5. Why? I
Right.
don't understand why. And it's just we're taught so young to fear, and unfortunately fear men, which, and this is no hate to men out there. Most men are great, wonderful, kind, supportive brothers, uncles, fathers, lovers. Like, that's who you are, and you're supportive and wonderful. So this is not man hate at all, I promise. I have a very wonderful father. I have very wonderful men in my life. But unfortunately, as a society, women are taught to fear strange men because we're told from so young that we're targets. And so getting a gun and going on that gun journey and getting that confidence really changes the way you view yourself and you view the people around you.
Well,
Because you're no
speaking
longer,
of that
yeah,
gun journey,
yeah.
what firearms would you suggest to these ladies? They're listening to you right now, I promise. So, what firearms would you suggest? Just if you have somebody that's
Honest,
just like brand new, knows nothing about any of this stuff, what's some of them you may suggest?
well, my biggest suggestion for anyone just entering the firearm realm is find a good range, a safe range, that you can rent firearms. because you don't know until you try. It's
Yep.
like spicy food. You don't know until you try it if
That's
you can
right.
handle it or not. But a good range, like that's clean, that's well maintained, that has range safety officers there to assist you, that rents firearms, that's the best place to start. Because everyone, you hear two things in the industry for women. You hear get a 22 and you hear get a revolver.
All the time.
And
And you know why they say that? And I hate it.
yep,
But it's almost like men feel like women can't handle larger caliber firearms, full size or mid range firearms. And a lot of the females I've been speaking to, they like, bro, what is you talking about? I want that 9mm. I want that
right?
40 cal. Like, I'm like, girls ain't going
Mhm.
no more about that. Those little micro handguns, you know, the subcompacts. They're not going for it now. Some of them do like it because they have smaller hands,
Yeah.
but a lot of women, man, they shooting some stuff now.
Well, the thing with it's definitely recoil. Like people think like, oh, it's a heavy recoil, you won't be able to handle it, or it's gonna make you afraid. It's gonna be too much. And with revolvers, they think it's simple, and they think that women are simple. And the reality is, guys are in the same classes as you. They get the same education. If you can drive a car, you can shoot a semi-automatic. I promise.
Yep.
It takes training and it takes some time and it takes some application of yourself. But if you can drive a car, you can shoot a semi-automatic. You don't need a revolver because it's simple.
Very good.
So
And revolvers, to be honest, they old school. I hate to say
they
it.
kick
And
a
I
lot of
know I'm gonna get some
them.
flack probably from my revolver haters, and I'm about to buy a revolver for a review. But to me, it's just a pocket rocket. And when you come against other artillery on the streets, you're not going to really have a chance, but it will keep a person, it'll back a person off, you know?
There are reasons. There are definitely legitimate reasons to get yourself a self-defensive revolver, which are the smaller ones. Some people have arthritis. Some people have um, like hands that don't work as well as other people's hands. They have muscular issues, neurological issues, physical limitations, and they cannot physically rack a slide, which is required for a semi-automatic handgun.
Right.
So there are legit reasons to buy yourself a revolver, and that's where a good salesperson will really help you out because they will fit you with your best options.
Mm-hmm.
But saying because you're female, you cannot handle
Right.
XYZ is just an outdated
It
concept.
is an
For
outdated
some
concept.
women, it's the best option, but not for everybody.
Right. No, you're right. Very good. That's good stuff. All right. Actually, you answered my next question, which is crazy. So you answered that one already. So I'm gonna skip over this next question. Um, where should a female carry her firearm on her? And should it be in her purse, her waist? I mean, with like some elastic on them big old thighs or them little thighs? Or how does she need to do this? Because it's, you know, the body anatomy is different from us.
It's God has blessed us all with unique body shapes. So there is never going to be a one size fits all option.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to where you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, in my experience, most women start in a handbag because
Mm-hmm.
it's a journey and you're reaching different comfort thresholds and you're reaching different training thresholds as you go through. So a lot of women tend to start with carrying a handbag because they just feel better that they have it with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of a step one is carrying it in a handbag for women, and that's okay. It's not the best option only because your handbag is going to be the target if somebody were to want to mug you or take
Swipe it
something
and
from
take it.
you.
Yep.
That's the target. So if the gun's in there, it's not going to do you much good if it gets stolen or if you put it down. But it's not this like awful thing that a lot of people make it out to be. You have it with you, you know it's there, it's giving you some confidence, and you're learning. And they make concealed carry purses where there's holsters built in. You
Yep.
always want your gun in a holster no matter what you're doing, whether it's in a bag or not.
Safety.
But But for me, based off my body shape, appendix carry is the most comfortable for me. I wear my weight kind of on the backs of my hips. I got them love
Mm-hmm.
handles, so I don't
Yep.
like to carry behind me. It's uncomfortable. Bra holsters to me are a joke,
I
only
heard
because
about those. What's the deal with
listen,
those?
okay, so
See,
bras are
I
uncomfortable
ain't
enough.
working with nothing up there. So
Bras are uncomfortable enough, let alone you're putting a gun in there. I'm just not a fan. To each their own, though. They do make some bra holsters. I just don't recommend them. They're in an awkward place for you to be able to access them quickly.
okay.
And Victoria's Secret bras don't come with holsters, y'all. They just don't. But I appendix carry. It fits very comfortably between where my hip bone is and where my pelvic bone would be. It's just comfortable there. It fits well there. And then there's open carry options where I wear a lot of like flannel button downs. I wear
Yep.
sweaters. I'll
And
be
you could
cold all
just
the
put it over
time.
it. Yep.
And you just put it right over the top of it. It depends how you dress, and the idea that you're going to change everything about yourself to accommodate a firearm isn't realistic. Some of us like to dress in a way that we show it off, and that's beautiful and empowering, and you go girl, we're going to find somewhere to put that gun. And some people dress more modestly, and there's different options there, so it just
I
depends.
mean, even nuns can pack.
Oh, and it's easy to hide a gun under. That's a lot of clothes. Um, but one of the main clients I had back when I lived in Florida were night entertainers. There's a lot of club life in South Florida, and there's a lot of places for women to work in nightlife. But there is certain clientele you get at night in certain situations you're going to get at night, and if you're dealing with a lot of cash you're going to run into certain situations. So that was a big market for me. I had a lot of clients who worked in nightlife, and you don't wear a lot of clothes when you work in nightlife. It just comes with the territory. So there
Right.
were different sizes of guns, different calibers of guns, different types of holsters that were able to conceal and work for them and their lifestyle. And you can always find something that fits your lifestyle. It just takes some application and a non-judgmental sales associate.
All right. Very, very good. Thank you for answering that. Let's go ahead and move to the next one here. I have a really good one here. How often should ladies go to the range and practice?
The
Very
same as
important. Very.
It is very important, and it's the same as anybody. You should be going to the range every couple of weeks minimum. You only get good at stuff that you put effort into. And it's a sport, so you don't go to the gym. If you're trying to build up muscle, you can't go to the gym once a month. It's just not going to work.
Right.
So it's something that you can commit to. Most ranges do memberships, or they have ladies' nights. But I would say at least twice a month, every 2 weeks minimum. You
Okay.
should be at least putting a magazine downrange. You don't have to shoot 3,000 rounds every time you go, but it should be something that you build into your routine to practice.
Very good. Okay. I thought that was a pretty good question because something I noticed that you kept on reiterating throughout our conversation is training, training, training. They have to understand that is crucially important.
It's just important for anything you're doing to practice, and you get proficiency through time and effort, and then you're able to come off that. But when you're building a skill set, you have to put that initial effort in to
That's
build your
right.
skill set. And if you want to be good at something, you got to put effort into it. That's anything. That's sales, that's being a good parent, that's being a good friend. You put effort into these things that you care about, and they flourish. But things that get neglected, that get put to the wayside, you lose them.
Right.
And that's the same thing with shooting. And I mean, I played golf in high school, and I lettered in golf in high school, and I probably haven't played golf since high school, and I can't hit putt. And it's a skill that and I was excellent. I lettered in high school. I played all 4 years. I went to states for golf, and it's something I can't even play putt against my godkids now. because it's a skill that I let go.
Right.
And there's just things that you have to stay in and stay on.
Very good. Good stuff. Thank you. All right. So, what advice would you give to the ladies that have very high anxiety about shooting a gun? I added this question in because I noticed I get this a lot from ladies, all different type of ladies, and it's an anxiety of going to the range. I don't know if it's hearing that sound or what, I know it's other factors that are included that make them feel that way. But so what advice would you give towards that?
There's a lot of different things you can do to mitigate that anxiety. And one is travel in packs. Women, we've been doing it forever. We go to the bathroom in pairs. We go out the night in a group. Bring your friend, and they're going to give you some comfort, and they're going to make you feel steadier.
Very
And so
good.
bring her in, bring her with you. Bring your significant other with you if that's what you need, if that's the person that makes you feel safest. Bring somebody that gives you confidence and gives you comfort. Now, we don't all have that, so there's definitely other ways of going about it. One is get online and read those reviews.
Yep.
Gun stores are still, and it's changing pretty fast, but they're still male dominated spheres of influence, and
Right.
that's what makes women uncomfortable. But keep in mind that statistically, I think it's 2019, with the beginning of all the COVID stuff, there was a boom in the gun industry for sales of new shooters, and half of new buyers were females.
Females.
Over
I read that.
6.5 million new gun owners are women. So it's very rapidly becoming a even playing field, and the gun industry is recognizing this new market with women. So they're creating stores that are more welcoming. There's less intimidating people being hired. There's more women being hired. But to come in to say you don't have anyone to come with you, schedule a private lesson. Find a range, read the reviews, and schedule a private with an instructor. And then they will help introduce you slowly. Another one is just run in and run out. Get yourself into the store. Even if you just got to turn around and leave, that's your baby step. You walked in, you looked around, maybe you let it get to you and you left, but you got there, and it's going to be that much easier to walk in next time. Look for the friendliest person you can see. I get that a lot. I get a lot of women and even some men they come directly to me at work because I don't dress intimidating.
Yep.
I don't talk aggressively. I'm very, good morning, how are you? Can I help you with anything?
Now, you wasn't looking like that when I came that first day. That first day, boy, you looked like you wanted to chop somebody up.
Well, you came in pretty late. No, I'm just kidding. We all have that resting weak face, it happens.
But you were the sweetest person once I got to know you. I made a big misjudgment on that, which was messed up.
I mean, I do carry a gun on my hip, so some people are like, well, but I'm very nice.
No, you're a very, very nice person. And I love that about you. That's why you're on the show. You're a star now.
Star.
All right. So, and that's exactly why I put this show together, Firearms for Females, because I noticed in my analytics when I looked in YouTube, my numbers as far as demographics of females are starting to grow slowly. And my whole goal is to bring more females to the platform because we have something to share with them too on my channel. And I want them to be able to be educated, to find out things, to be entertained and everything. Everybody should be included with this process. So I think this is the beginning of something really, really huge and big.
And it's one of those things that's equaling. There's a lot of social situations involved with guns. There's lots of demographic issues. Minorities in firearms are a big discrepancy still. single parent households you're seeing a big rise in firearm ownership for single parents. You're seeing a rise in females purchasing firearms, first time shooters, male and female. You're seeing a rise in first time buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing that rise in older people who have lived their lives. They're in their middle age, they're in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and they're walking in and saying, the world's different, and I would like to get a gun.
Right.
And so you're seeing a lot of change, a lot of demographic change. You're seeing more educated people buying firearms,
Yep.
which is a new demographic. College educated people coming in and buying guns, and
Yep.
just some cool things that you're seeing change from what it used to be. And women are making up a huge percentage of that change that we're seeing.
Very good. Yeah, and they are. And I love it. I have a mom, and to me, you guys are the queens, like the everything. I mean, you birth everything into this planet. And so to me, that's up there. And you guys should be recognized as so. And so since I have a platform, I'm gonna make sure that you all get recognized. And so that's really strong and close to my heart, because I love her more than anything. So I'm constantly talking to my mother about these things, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters, all the females. It's very important. Let's go ahead and go to this next one here.
Okay.
And we working it. We 31 minutes in. We almost done now. We almost done. All right. So we all know the importance of having insurance coverage while carrying. Do you have any insurance policies you would like them to know about? Any advice on that end?
There are a couple companies out there that are offering coverage for carry in the event that you do have to discharge your firearm. And there's a lot of conceptuality when it comes to self-defense, and it's best to take those courses that have like the laws for you to know about. I'm definitely not an expert in the concealed carry law, especially for Tennessee, because I just moved here.
Okay.
But one of the things is that you can carry personal liability insurance. It's an option, and it's kind of like a subscription, like Netflix would be. It's like
Pay
$10 a month, $30 a month, whatever. And you have like a lawyer's card in your wallet. And if you end up in one of those situations, when law enforcement show up on a scene where there's been a shooting, they have no information. They just know somebody's been shot and somebody shot somebody. And that's the only thing they know showing up. So being booked, being questioned, being treated like someone who shot somebody is something to expect. And having a lawyer that is very knowledgeable in gun laws isn't the worst thing to have at your, disposal, because your chances are you're taking a ride down to the police station.
Right.
Because again, they just don't know what happened, and they're going to have to figure that out. And it's not always really clear what that is. So you're going to be treated like somebody that shot somebody else until all the evidence is in and all the facts have been heard. So having a lawyer isn't a bad thing. And those companies are reputable, the ones that are out there. Just do your research like anything else. Don't just give your information away online. And you can source those through gun stores because they've been pretty well vetted if they're being offered in some of the bigger gun stores that you have access to.
Absolutely. And one of them that I do know about, insurance policy that I do have, is USCCA. So I'm not going to plug them real hard because they're not paying me. When they start sending that bread over here, then I'll I'll push them hard. But USCCA is one of the ones that I have, ladies. So you can check them out. I think they have another one called Right to Bear or something. Bear Arms or
there's I don't 100% know, but it's like Right to Bear Arms. There's US Law Shield. And there's a couple out there, and they're reputable. They're all reputable. You just kind of see what's offered in your area, what is offering you good coverage. Like if you're someone that just has, a gun in the house and that's you never leave with it, you mitigate those options. If you're someone like me that carries every day everywhere that's legal to carry,
right,
you tend to err on the side of caution. It just depends Like, and your anxiety level. Some people just feel better for having the coverage, and you do what you got to do to live your most peaceful life.
This is what I say. If you don't have that bag, and what I mean by that bag, ladies, is if you don't have a lot of money, you most definitely want the insurance. It'll get you out of a lot of trouble. Even if you defend yourself, there's still a chance that you can go to jail. Am I right, Chey?
I mean, there's situations can be complex, and the our prison system and our legal system isn't always the best,
Right.
and people are flawed. Law enforcement is flawed. We're flawed. So bad things can happen to good people, and that's why we carry guns, because bad things happen to good people all the
Yep.
time. And so, like, if that's definitely something for people to look into and research for their own peace of mind and the peace of mind for their loved ones.
It's a very good thing to do. So this is something else too. I want to ask you here. What are some of your favorite handguns and long rifles to shoot? Just so they'll know. Because you was spitting a whole bunch of them to me when I was out there. So you bougie with the guns. You bougie.
So it takes a lot for me to not like a gun, because like everything has its quality and everything has its reasons for the way it's made.
Mm-hmm.
And most of it's pretty valid. The science is there. With guns, with handguns especially, it's what fits you best.
Mm-hmm.
Not all guns fit well in your hand. We're all made differently. It's called the ergonomics of the grip. It's the way it contours in your hand, the way it fits. My favorite gun that I have is my Glock 19.
Woo.
And it's tried and true. I love it. It's a Gen 4, so it's got the finger groove. It just locks in well for me. And I love it. It doesn't jam. It's easy. It's low maintenance. It's easy to clean. It's easy to maintain. Parts are available.
Yep.
If you need them, you can upgrade it, any way you want. So
And
you
we
can
even have a
customize
Glock
it.
store
Mine's
in
gray.
Nashville. What did you say?
They do. They have so my gun is gray. I love gray. I'm wearing a gray sweater. My sheets are gray. So my guns are all gray. All of them are. They're all silver, chrome, hues of gray.
I love
So
it.
you can customize things. You can get, purple guns, pink guns, Tiffany blue with the silver slide. Like, you can have it any way you want it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to guns, for carry, I carry a SIG P238, which is a 380.
That's a
And
good
a lot
one.
of people give me a lot of hate for the 380 that I carry.
I don't know
but I
why it's
love it. It
not
works well
22.
for me.
It's not 22 LR.
Right? People don't like 380. They hate on it, and I understand why. 9 ballistically is a very much superior round, but the 380 is great for close quarter, and I'm not going to
Right.
shoot the guy way over there.
Right.
It's for close quarter use only, and it's worked well for me. I love SIG. I love the brand. I love the way it fits. So those are my favorite handguns that I use daily for carry and self-defense, home defense. I have a Remington 870 shotgun that's all chrome. It's the Marine Magnum. Love it. That's my home defense shotgun. It's beautiful. And in Florida, and I'm from Florida, we have salt spray. So the Marine Magnum edition holds up to like that salty air. It's non-corrosive. So it has practical applications, but it's just chromed out and beautiful, and I love it.
Of course.
The Ruger 1022 is
Yep.
I have a purple one. I've had it since I was a kid, and it still works just as good as the first time I ever shot it. Ruger makes wonderful quality firearms.
They do.
That's a good flanker. That's a good place to start for people getting into long guns, because it's just very simple to use, but works very well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I have some 1911s. That's one of my favorite platform of handguns. They're a little old school, but I love them.
Hammer
I love the
fire.
history of them. They're hammer fire single action.
Yep.
Most of the time they're 45, and that's like a big round. It's got some recoil. I like a gun with a little bit of kick to it when I'm just having fun.
Did I just hear Chey say she shoot 45, boy.
Yeah, I love me some kick. My 12 gauge is my favorite gun to shoot just because I love the adrenaline rush that I get when I use it.
Okay.
It does some damage. I like it. The 45, it's powerful in your hand. You feel powerful when you use it. Smooth. You're allowed to. You're allowed to like some recoil. You're allowed to like loud noises, blowing things up, setting things on fire. Like being a woman doesn't stop you from enjoying the finer qualities of life.
That's what's up. I
Like a little
love
bit
it.
of energy, a little bit of firepower with your day.
No,
That's
that's good.
I enjoy it.
That's very
But
good.
anything
So,
will work for you.
huh?
Anything will work for you that you put the effort into.
It will. But just like you said earlier, once you get in the range and you find out what you're comfortable with, you'll enjoy shooting it even more. Because when I first got started, I purchased maybe one or two firearms that I didn't too much care about. But my problem was I should have gotten the range with it in the very beginning and like rented it out and tried it out, but I didn't. And I turned around and I got rid of those firearms. So instead of wasting that money, try it. If you have a friend that may have the firearm or something like that, go to the range with them, try it, see if you like it first, then put the money into it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like shooting a gun before you buy it is the best advice I can give anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we got one last question here and we wrapping it up. We wrapping it
All
up
right.
here. Um, is it anything you would like to tell the ladies before we close today? Any jewels you want to sprinkle? Any jewels?
My biggest thing, I think, is that you're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to exist in any way that you exist.
Mm-hmm.
So you're allowed to like guns and you're allowed to try new things and you're allowed to try new things and not like them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you go shoot a gun a couple times doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to become a warrior princess. And it just might not be your thing, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to learn. It's okay to change. So often we put people in boxes and then punish them for trying to go outside these boxes. And
Right.
they're pretend walls. You're who you are, and you're allowed to change what that is at any point without permission.
That's right.
So if you want to go shoot and everyone around you tells you no, well, take yourself to the range. And if you want to buy a gun and everyone around you tells you no, go buy it anyway.
Right.
And you're allowed to. And it's okay. And there are ways to mitigate all of the reasons not to. And it's also okay to be afraid and do it anyway, because that's how we all are. I was afraid to walk in and put in my first job application. I was afraid the first time I got behind a car steering wheel. I was afraid the first time I ever went on a date, because trying new things is scary,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also incredibly rewarding because now I can find love and go where I want to go
That's
and I
right.
have money to spend. And you're allowed. It's okay. And not everything you own has to be pink, but if you like pink, everything you own can be pink, and that's
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I was talking to a young lady where I work at, and she was like, I seen your channel. And she was like, I've been looking at it, but I just don't know what I want to get. But the first thing she said, but you know what? I want a purple gun. I said, okay. I said, I
Get
think I know
yourself a
what you
purple
want.
gun.
Listen, I showed her the Ruger EC9S. I showed her that small, compact.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I showed her that, because I know that the mid-size and full-size guns can look quite intimidating a little bit for a first-time shooter. So I showed her that one. When she saw those different colors, the pink with the light gray and the
Mm-hmm.
purple with the black slide, you know how they go hard on those. She
Mm-hmm.
lost her mind. She was like, yeah, I want it. She was like, I want it. I want that one right there. And I was like, all right. So I gave her some ideas on what to do, where to look. And I told her that I was shooting a video with a girl named Chey. You need to watch the video. So she's going to see this video. So
Well, and get what you like. So many people have these opinions like, oh, a colored gun looks like a toy, or a
Right.
colored gun is easier to see. And you know what? If it takes getting yourself a purple gun for you to for you to identify with that gun and train with it and like it and get into it, then get a purple gun. It is not the end of the world. It's still a bullet. It's still a 9 mil. It's still going to work just as good as an all black gun
Right.
or a FDE gun. Get yourself the Tiffany blue with the silver slide and the little keychain at the bottom. Get what you like. Too
Right.
many people have too many opinions. And the reality is, we're in the market and we do this job because we empower people to empower themselves.
That's right.
And if you feel empowered because you wear, rainbow sequins all day, then feel empowered in your rainbow sequins.
Yeah.
Like, do your thing. Gray is my color. I love gray.
I love
So all
gray
my
too.
guns are gray. And you know what?
I
I
bet you ain't
love
seen them gray Jays though. Them gray Jordans go hard.
no, first, honestly, if it's gray, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this home. I'm gonna take that home. Like and you're allowed to have a personality. You're allowed to like what you like. You're allowed to do new things. It's okay. And unfortunately, in our society, a lot of times women just need permission.
Yeah.
It's a societal concept. And I'm giving y'all permission to be warrior princesses if that's what you want to do with your life. Do it. Do it to the best of your ability and be amazing. And then if you want to stop or you don't like it or you want to move on from that and it's not your thing, you're still amazing because you
Yep.
did it and you tried it and you're allowed not to like it and you're allowed to love it. And people are always going to have opinions. Always. Someone's
That's
always
right.
going to say, that's not for women, or that's not for you, or you look like a man, or it's masculine, or it's unattractive. Okay. Don't be attracted to me then. I'm not worried about it. Don't be worried about it.
Yep.
And that's my best advice to you, honestly. Anyone watching and anyone that can even just pick up like a shred of hope from it, that's my hope for them, is that they just become empowered in themselves and take their safety into their own hands and take their confidence into their own hands and maybe develop a new skill and a new hobby that they love and can meet friends and have a good time, because that's what we need more of in this world is people coming together for
Self
common goals
camaraderie.
and
Yep.
to have a good time.
That's right. That's right. And I think we're at a point now with social media, YouTube, Instagram, things like that. I think we're at a point now where that's actually being manifest, in the world. And more people are getting recognized. More people are starting to be able to relate to someone else, on their channel and say, hey, I like that guy. I didn't know that, those particular people did that or this and that and that. And this is starting to bridge the gap of humanity. And that's what I'm all about here. And that's what my platform is going to continually be about here. So when it comes to the ladies, y'all number one with me. And you're about to see more and more content on this platform. I most definitely want to have you guys involved today. So thank you for having Chey on the channel today. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, Chey. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I apologize for being a little late, but I was born late. I ain't even want to come
It's
out that
all
thing, if you see what I'm saying. I ain't even want to come out. So um, I just say thank you. I didn't think I was going to be able to get the interview with you. I was nervous as you know what.
Oh, no.
Yes, I was like,
I
oh
was
Lord.
happy to.
Uh
I was happy to. And the thing is, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just somebody with a good amount of experience and that's done this for a while. And that's just my experience and things. And so I was happy to share and happy to be asked. It was fun.
yeah, but guess what? Your information that you share with people who may not know anything at all is worth everything. They can skip some of the mistakes that they may make by just listening to us. And just keep in mind, ladies, these are opinionated views, but it's based off experience, and that means a whole lot. Thank you, Chey.
Oh, of course, anytime.
All right. So again, we may end up having a part two. It may not be, this type of setting, But later, just in the future, we'll talk about these things. I might have to put you on payroll, but we may have to see a little bit of that action and show them how to hold it and stuff like that. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And ladies, tune in. We're going to have some exciting more content for you guys too. So thank you. I appreciate it. And remember, I'm not from this planet.